right, this is the screencast for the end of unit assessment for Unit 2. So the first question asked which one was proportional. Remember, proportional means that it goes through the origin, which is 0.00, and it makes a straight line. And it can go either direction, but it has to make a straight line. So in this case, the origin is in the corner. Okay, so D has a curved line. C goes through the origin as a straight line. B does not go through the origin. A does not go through the origin. So the correct answer was C. The next one is the same idea. It's asking you to determine which one is proportional. So it has to go through the origin, which would be 0.00, and it has to be a straight line. So remember, we talked about how we can use our line tool in Keynote, or in this case, I'm going to use this ruler. So I'm going to line up with my origin. My iPad's being persnickety this morning, and it doesn't look like it's going to make a straight line. That one looks like it is. This one does not. I got points off of it. Let's check D. Well, this one doesn't even look like it goes through the origin. Nope, doesn't go through the origin. So my answer was B. That one was the straight line and went through the origin. All right, the next one says the graph shows the relationship between the total cost of peaches and the number of peaches purchased. So I'm going to make myself a table, and I'm going to do the cost and the pounds. So that's my X and that's my Y. And I know that because it says pounds of peaches on the X-axis and cost of peaches on the Y. So then I'm looking up my line for a place where it's in the crosshair, which is right there, where it's in that corner of the box and the line intersects. So that's going to be 2.6. So 2 pounds of peaches cost $6. I want to know what 1 pound costs. So I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2, and I get $3 a pound. So my answer should have been D. The next one's asking what's the cost of 2 t-shirts. So again, I'm following my line up until I find a spot where it's in the crosshair right there. So 2 t-shirts are going to cost me $14. This one, they want to know what's the meaning of coordinate 5, 45. So 5 is my X and 45 is my Y. And I know my X is the number of movies watched, and I know my Y is the cost. So I know 5 movies were watched. And it costs $45. So it says it costs $45 to watch 5 movies. So it should have been B. The next one says, what does 0.3 180 mean? So again, I've got my X and my Y. I know X is the time, and I know Y is the miles. So it's time in hours, so it's 3 hours to, in this case, they're driving because it shows the distance a family traveled. So 180 miles. So the family traveled 180 miles during the 3rd hour of their trip. No. It took the family 3 hours to travel to the beach. I don't know. It took the family 3 hours to travel 180 miles. The family traveled a total of 180 miles. Well, if I'm looking at the graph, it looks like the end is here. So C was the best answer. Select all the true statements. Okay, so I know I have a point. I know it's proportional because it's going through the origin and it's making a straight line. So I have my, it says the graph shows the cost in dollars, W pounds of blueberries, and it's proportional. So I'm going to go with, this is the weight. So this must be the pounds. And this is the cost. So I know that it's 6 pounds for $16.50. And I know that because my W and then the other one is my C, because my X and my Y axis. So this is the X and this is the Y axis. So it says 1 pound of blueberries. Let's find for 1. So I divide by 6, divide by 6. So $16.50 divided by 6, I get $2.75. So 1 pound of blueberries does cost. 2.75 pounds of blueberries does not cost $1. 5 pounds of blueberries cost $15.50. Well, let's try it. I get 13.75. So I know that's not true. 12 pounds of blueberries cost $33. So every time I go back to that constant of proportionality. So 2.75. Ooh, what the heck am I doing? Yes, 12 pounds of blueberries does cost $33. The 0.39 on the graph is in the proportional relationship. So 3.9. So that would be 3 pounds of blueberries cost $9. So again, I'm going back to that constant of proportionality times 3. So I'm doing 275 times 3. I get 8.25. So E is out. So my two answers were A and D. All right, the next one's asking, what is the constant of proportionality for the line graph below? So remember, the constant of proportionality is the amount for 1. So I'm talking about 1x, because remember we did x and y and we talked about 1k. So we're talking about 1x. So when I go across to 1 and I go down to the line, it's -2. So the constant of proportionality in this case is -2. The amount for 1 is -2. All right, this one says the graph below shows the cost of different amounts of food. So she's researching a party, so we need to find the amount for 1 person. So I'm going to divide by 10 and divide by 10. So 37.50 divided by 10, $3.75. So I need to find what it's going to be for 1 person here. So I want to look on my line until I find a point where it's exact. So 20 guests is going to cost $50. I want to figure out what one guest is going to cost. So I divide by 20. There we go. So 50 divided by, and I get $2.50. So then it says, which statement is true about the caterer's cost? Parties Plus charges $1.25 more per person. Well, this one's Parties Plus and this one's Fran's Foods. So I know Parties Plus is more expensive because it was $3.75 a person. I need to figure out how much more. So when they ask me how much more, I know I have to subtract. So $1.25 more a person, so it's not B and it's not D, and I know Parties Plus charged more, so it has to be A. The next one's talking about two people and they're driving. So Josh and Brooke are each driving home from college. Josh's average speed was Y equals 50x, where Y is the distance driven and X is the speed. So I know that Josh went 50 miles per hour. So then it says, what did Brooke drive? So I have to look on my line until I find a point in the crosshair, which is right there. So she did 2 hours and went 120 miles. I want to figure out how long or how far she could drive in 1 hour because I want to be able to compare them, and I'm doing per hour in the top, so I want to do per hour in the bottom. So I get 60 miles per hour, and this is Brooke. So they want to know who was faster. Well, Brooke was faster by 10 miles per hour because 60 minus 50 is 10. The next one's talking about objects, and this is a release DOG question. So it says, which statement is true? This graph shows the time and distance traveled for two objects. So they want to know which object travels more per foot. Okay, so I'm going to have to find a point in the crosshair so I can compare my constants of proportionality. So I have a point there. So that would be 15 and 10. So that's object 2. So that's time and distance. So in 15 minutes, it went 10 feet. So I want to figure out how far it goes in 1 minute because they're comparing per minute. So I want to figure out 1 minute. So I'm dividing by 15. 10. I get 0.6 repeating, or this would be 2/3. And I know that because I can look at the chart in my classroom. Or I could take 10 over 15 and reduce it by 5. I'm going to get 2/3. Then I have to compare the other one, so I'm going to switch colors. So then again, I'm looking for a point in the crosshair right there. So I have 10, and this time it's 15. So this is object 1, and the time and the distance. So this time in 10 minutes, he went 15, or whatever the object went, 15 feet. So I want to figure out what 1 is, so I'm going to divide by 10. 15 divided by 10 is 1.5. Okay, or I can do 15 over 10 divided by 5, and I get 3/2. Okay, so then it says, which traveled more per minute? Well, I know for sure object 1 travels more per minute, right? I know they went further, so I know I can eliminate B and A. So now I'm down to C and D. So I have to figure out how much more per minute. Well, if I want to figure out how much more, I have to subtract, right? So 1.5 minus 0.6 repeating. So in my calculator, I put 1.5 minus 0.6 repeating. I'm going to put in 6 as many times as I can. And I get 0.83 repeating. Okay, well, so now I've got to look at my two fractions, and I have to decide which one this is. So is it 6 divided by 5? No, that's 1.2. Or is it 5 divided by 6? Ah, yes, so it should have been D. All right, what is the difference between the cost of a ticket at the state fair and at the county fair? Well, I know I have equation 75 cents for the state fair, and I know it costs 50 cents for the county fair, so it's 25 cents is the difference. And that was our last question. If you have any questions or you need additional help, just let me know.